Shadi.
No worries.
Next, we will hear from Samantha Pate. Samantha Pate worked on policy at SDG&E, and she has a long history in working on utilities at Sempra and SDG&E. So please come forward, Samantha. Your turn.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for having me speak today on behalf of San Diego Gas and Electric and to share with you all about our path to net zero. Everyone here knows achieving California's aggressive emissions reductions goals is going to be challenging and require transformational changes across the economy. SDG&E published the Path to Net Zero in April of this year, similar to the county's effort to analyze and identify one potential solution for California and SDG&E service territory. Our roadmap demonstrates one example of how we can accomplish our collective goals. We partnered, similar to you all, with decarbonization experts from Black & Veatch, Boston Consulting Group, and UC San Diego Professor David Victor, who's also an advisor and contributor to the county's work. We found that effective decarbonization is going to require a diversified approach that leverages a combination of clean electricity, clean fuels, and the use of carbon removal technologies. Some key takeaways and learnings from our study are as follows. First, California is estimated to need to decarbonize at 4.5 times faster than we have over the last decade to achieve carbon neutrality by 2045. Second, electricity consumption is expected to roughly double through 2045 as well, and that's primarily due to the electrification of the transportation and building sectors. And to serve this demand, electric generation capacity at the California level is estimated to increase approximately 4 times the capacity that existed in 2020. California has already served as a global sustainability leader and has made significant progress on the policy goals to date. But looking ahead, additional support and collaboration between policymakers and stakeholders is going to be needed to ensure we're successful in achieving net zero. So we really do commend the county on this effort. Next slide, please. Related to this, our roadmap proposed 4 main areas of policy support. Affordability and, just as importantly, equity are going to be key considerations going forward, and decarbonization is only going to be successful if everyone benefits. Historically, the state's electric rate structure has been designed to encourage Californians to conserve electricity through a tiered volumetric rate, which effectively disincentivizes people from using more electricity. As we transition to a future that is highly electrified and utilizes more levels of clean electricity, we need to change the way electricity is priced to ensure it's economically feasible for Californians to use more electricity to fuel more parts of their lives. We also need to ensure low-income households are able to benefit from the clean energy transition. There are significant upfront capital costs required to electrify your car, your home, and those least able to afford these new technologies are at risk for not being able to electrify. SDG&E was pleased with the governor's approximate $900 million proposal to support building decarbonization that was focused on low and moderate income communities. We believe this is a great step, and more actions and budgets need to be modeled like this going forward. We also support an equitable and informed transition for all potentially affected workforces as we move towards an unelectrified future. The policies and programs that support the workforce transformation through the decarbonization journey are of utmost importance to us. Although many jobs may evolve, we remain confident that the highly skilled workers who may be at risk will be able to adapt to and meet the infrastructure and climate goals set forth. We believe partnering together on workforce readiness studies and future workforce planning efforts will support a just transition. Second, reliability of the electric sector needs to be a top priority. SDG&E's roadmap was the first publicly available analysis to use the industry standard for reliability in modeling decarbonization through 2045. So SB 100 has set up the electric sector to already be on a path to be 100% carbon free by 2045. It was interesting to see Dr. Manshadi, frame the global scale. I think but in California, our electric sector has really significantly reduced emissions over the last decade, over 40%. So today in California, the electric sector reflects only 14% of emissions today. But we need to ensure that the electric sector meets the same reliability standard going forward as more parts of the economy electrify. We identified that there was a need for a clean and dispatchable source of electricity to complement renewables and batteries when the sun isn't shining or the wind isn't blowing for extended periods of time. So we're actively advocating for reliability to be incorporated into long-term state planning proceedings. And geographical diversity also has a role here in enhancing reliability. We recognize that California is part of an electric system that extends beyond our state borders. We continue to support the California ISO's RTO market expansion efforts to enhance market efficiencies and optimize renewable resources across the Western states. Third, we need to be enabling the deployment of decarbonization infrastructure. So a similar thread to the previous presentation. As California residents own more higher increasing levels of EVs and electric space and water heaters, the electric system has to be ready to deliver growing amounts of clean, reliable electricity. And to align this infrastructure with the pace of decarbonization, certain regulatory and policy changes will be needed. For example, removing obstacles to siting and permitting, and simplifying and accelerating regulatory review. Streamlining local permitting processes would be a very helpful option that the RDF could consider in this effort. And finally, we all need to be innovative. The state should be encouraging and funding RD&D efforts to ensure new decarbonization technologies are available to be deployed at the lowest possible cost. So this includes pilot projects for emerging technologies, such as clean hydrogen. As we look forward to 2045, successful decarbonization is going to require these 4 elements and necessitate stakeholders all working together to achieve our collective goals. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Samantha. So really appreciate your time in coming here. You are the Director of Strategic Planning for SDG&E, and you also had a pretty robust understanding and history with through SEMPRA and the utility providers, how investors look at the investing utilities of the future. And particularly I was impressed by your resume on the financial planning perspective too. So with all that information, could you like highlight some ideas or suggestions for action for us in San Diego region?
In the San Diego, I think not specific to San Diego, again, it's touching on my point about the importance of reliability for the electric sector. As people swap their gasoline usage to fuel their vehicles with clean electricity, they're going to expect it to be reliably there whenever they want to charge their cars. So the more that people can factor in reliability when they're doing long-term decarbonization planning, the better, because without that reliability lens, as we move forward into our clean future, we don't want to be unprepared or unreliable as electricity fuels more of our lives, I would say.
Thank you. I think that reliability was a key contribution of that study. So as we are thinking from our knowledge base, you did mention some of the R&D efforts, and I want to kind of harken back to your breadth of experience from the financial side as well and investment side. Are there any other case studies from maybe outside our region that we can learn from, or future regulatory and technological advances?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the European countries are doing some cutting edge work, particularly Iceland and its DAC units. I think there's a lot for us to keep an eye on there, and either challenges or insights gained over time. And, hopefully we can all bring down the cost of these very nascent technologies today so it's more affordable for all of us Californians.
Thank you, Samantha. And the last question is about, you said collaboration is key and you uh, acknowledged the regional decarbonization framework. Our, our region is unique. We have a single utility covering most of our geography. We also have two community choice aggregators. We have a host of stakeholders. Most of the players are pretty finite within our San Diego County region area. So what potential role do you see the county playing in bringing everybody to the table for this kind of regional dialogue and action?
Yeah, I mean, I think very similar to the previous answer. I think the county has the ability to be a great mediator for our local stakeholders. SDG&E serves both the unincorporated areas of the county as well as the other municipalities within. So we have a broad stakeholder base, and I think consistency throughout the jurisdiction and more broadly the state as well is going to help align the stakeholders, and that's going to be critical in meeting the goals. We fully support electrification and want to support the state in achieving our goals, but we know we can't do it without the help of our stakeholders.
Thank you very much. That's it for today. Really appreciate you coming here with us.
Thank you.
Next, we have